I want to call the informal meeting of the City Commission to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Dr. Estrop?
Here.
Mrs. Houston?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Mr. Rue?
In Mr. Rue's absence this evening, I'll be chairing the meeting as prescribed by the city charter. Mr. Manager, would you introduce the work session items, please?
Yes, Commission, we have a presentation tonight from the Clark County Land Reutilization Corporation, also known as the Land Bank. With us is the Executive Director, Ethan Harris, as well as Kara Van Zant, the Development Project Manager, and they're going to give an update on their workforce housing project.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thanks for having us. I think we were here probably about a little over 6 months ago. Just want to build on that conversation and give you an update on what we've got going on and progress so far. Do we have a clicker? Are you guys able to click for us? Logan. Fair enough. Next slide then. So next slide, we'll be discussing the Engaged Neighborhood project. So as I think many of you are probably aware of the Engaged Neighborhood and the overarching project goals there. This is kind of what the Land Bank has undertaken over the past few years and currently working on. So at zero South Plum Street, we have a environmental testing taking place at that site. 504 West Euclid, I'm going to dive into that on the next slide a little bit more. But then across the street, of course, the sunflower field, which I either planted or in the process of being planted at this stage. West Grand Avenue, we're going to be discussing a little bit more depth with the housing project that's taking place there. And then 608 West Southern, we're going to have some more slides for you on there. But that kind of lays out geographically the area that we're going to be discussing tonight. Next slide, please. Maybe. Might need someone at the computer. So, yes, thank you. Community green space. So, looking and taking a holistic approach to the overall development here. And engaging with the neighbors, we wanted to not only bring forth green space, but also commercial kitchen, returning an industrial vacant space into more of a commercial space. So we've been working with Nettie Carter. Next slide, please. At Core 4, they are bringing forth a really neat concept there of a commercial kitchen and an event center. So that is playing out really well with the housing that we're putting in directly adjacent on the east side, and then the park that we're going to be showing you next. So many of you came to the tour that we did of this site a couple weeks ago, but wanted to share this with the community, what we have going on. We are fundraising to bring a community park there where the former Euclid Element building stood, that is directly adjacent to the bike path that goes from Yellow Springs into the city of Springfield. To date, we have half of the funds, approximately half the funds raised that's necessary to bring this project forward. We're looking to raise $1 million, and we have $500,000 raised so far. So we're working on putting together some grant applications, obviously looking for community support. We do have a GoFundMe page, or not GoFundMe, sorry, Give Butter page. Next slide, please. So here is some more conceptual art of what we're looking to bring to the neighborhood. all ADA accessible. That's really important for us to try and bring. There is some basketball courts and pickleball courts proposed there further to the east of the playground area here proper. So before we move into the housing part of the conversation, is there any questions for me regarding the park that we're trying to get going here? Okay.
So diving in, we are hoping to do affordable homes project. This would be affordable home ownership. We've also talked about it being workforce home ownership, just really targeting the people who are interested in moving from being a renter to being a homeowner. Next slide, please. So we've got two different projects that we're working on with this. The first one that I wanted to mention here is the Grand Project, which is West Grand and West Southern. It's in that same area in the engaged neighborhood. We're anticipating 10 new homes to go in there. That site was previously 5 abandoned properties that the land bank had demolished over time using some federal dollars that we'd leveraged. So there you can see where it's laid out that we would be able to do 10 homes. There would be off-street parking as well as porches, because we know that's really important for building community and just being a part of the neighborhood. Just north of there is the sunflower field that we'd mentioned that we planted this week with the city of Springfield. And then right above there is where the new park would be as well. Right. And then the next one that we are working on currently is Liberty Street, which is East Liberty, which is just south of here, about 3 blocks. So we currently have 4 homes that are in process of being permanently sited and working on getting those garages built as well as off-street parking. We're very excited to announce that we are available now for accepting applications of those. So those are 1,300 square feet homes with 3-bedroom, 2-bath, again with the porch with off-street parking. We are anticipating that those will be set at about $160,000 to $170,000, but we do have a down payment assistance to bring that down to an affordable level as well. And it's up to 20% down payment assistance. So with that, we've got some qualifications under the application. So it is ARPA dollars that we're using in this first round. So under ARPA, we had to require the household income must be 300% of the federal poverty guideline or lower. So a family of 4 at that max level is about $96,000 per year. You don't have to have, children in the home or anything like that, but, you do have to qualify under how many people are going to be in the home. We have to make sure that the housing burden is not higher than 30%. So that is going to be something that we would calculate during the application. The application is about 4 pages long, so not too strenuous, just to engage and make sure, who's going to be applicable for this, meeting these guidelines. We also will require, not before the application, but before the homeowner signs for the property, that they would be doing a homeowner education course completed through HUD. There are a few certification programs that we have here in Clark County as well as in Dayton area and Columbus as well. So just another thing is this is a home ownership, so somebody has to be eligible to acquire a mortgage to be able to apply for these as well. But if anybody is not sure if they do qualify, we do encourage them to go ahead and apply. Again, it's only 4 pages. Have a conversation with us. We'd love to. Yeah. To the next slide. It was very quick, so if there's any questions. But I will say my email's up there, Caravan Zant. Phone number's there. Definitely call us. We would love to chat, and we've got homes for people to buy.
The 2 big takeaways are if you qualify, please reach out. If you're looking to buy a home, we've got them ready to start selling now. And if you're interested in donating to our park project, please reach out or look up the Give Butter website that we have.
So just to reiterate what you just said, if people are interested in pursuing purchase of one of these homes, they should contact either of you.
Contact her.
Contact her. All right. Contact Kara. And
Email me, however you need to reach me. We can have a conversation if somebody's not sure what their affordability looks like. If they would qualify, I'd rather have that conversation than not.
questions from the commission?
I was just going to ask if you could speak your email and phone number
Yeah, absolutely. So it's KVANZANT at Clark County, Ohio, all spelled out, .gov, and then 937-521-2173.
And the other question I had, or I wanted to inquire more about the HUD homeowner educational course. What does that look like for folks?
So I personally have gone through that course.
Mhm.
When my husband and I bought our first home when we were just coming out of college, we didn't know what we were doing. So that course is typically either online, and it can be anywhere from, I think it's 3 hours long if you do it all the way straight through, or it can be paced at your own time, just depending on what program you use. And then we also have a couple of community partners here that do the course with in person, and it's typically an hour or two for each course up to a few different weeks. And you have to hit a certain number of those courses in a row to be able to get your certification. But it is very helpful. They go through how to manage your budget, what it looks like to get a mortgage, all the different paperwork and things.
Thank you.
I sat through one of those sessions, and they are very helpful. I mean, it's much more than just owning a piece of property. It's budgeting. How do you stay up with it? How do you handle repairs? How do you budget for repairs? It's a pretty good program. Brian, I was wondering, can we, Ethan, if you send us this, can we put this presentation on our website so people can see that information at home and also the contact information for care?
Yes,
I
we'll
look
work with Ethan and Kara to get that information on our website.
That'd be great. I tried to call you earlier today, Ethan, and you called me back and I missed it. What I was going to suggest to you, you may want to look at, some of that property is brownfield property, and we left intentionally the concrete over the soil because the soil is so contaminated. One thought I had was, and if we don't get a brownfield program grant, is to look at installing solar panels on that concrete that we could offer to the homeowners at a discounted rate as an incentive to move and purchase this infill housing development. And we talked about this earlier, a committee of the commission, and we were told by First Energy that we could not develop further than a certain point away, and I don't know that number. But as close as some of this property is to the development that you're planning, it may well qualify, and you won't have to deal with First Energy to the extent, save some money for people living there. So I just wanted to encourage you to take a look at it. It might be another possibility as an incentive beyond everything you've listed to suggest to people this is going to be a pretty good deal.
We can take a look at that. I'm definitely not an electrical engineer, so I can't speak to the specifics of how all the grid and stuff work. But certainly open to anything that lowers pricing for our residents.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Mr. Manager, anything else?
That is the only work session item, Commissioners. We do have 3 public hearings.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn the work session?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the work session. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes,
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
we are adjourned. The public hearing scheduled for 6:45 p.m. is called to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Dr. Estrop?
Here.
Mrs. Houston?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Mr. Rue?
Purpose of this meeting is for a public hearing to consider a proposed change in zoning. Has legal proper notice been given for the public hearing?
Notice of a public hearing for the purpose of considering the proposed change in zoning for 15.43 acres located at 0 St. Paris Pike being parcel number 320020001000100038 from RS5 Low Density Single Family Residence District to RM12 Low Density Multifamily Residence District was published in the Springfield News Sun, a newspaper of general circulation within the city. Attached here too is a true and correct copy of the legal notice published on April 28, 2025.
I move that the communication be ordered, received, recorded in the minutes, and filed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mrs. Houston,
Yes.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brown.
Yes.
Staff report, please. You obviously are having some technical problem.
Sorry about that. Good evening, everyone. So the applicant wishes to rezone the subject parcel as shown on slide highlighted in yellow from low density residential to high density multifamily residential district. The current zoning of single family only allows for single family developments, but the applicant wishes to have 2-story walk-up apartments with amenities. For this use, applicant wishes to rezone to allow for low-rise multifamily dwellings. The Clark County Comprehensive Plan shows future character area as mixed-use, low-intensity, parks and recreation, multifamily residential development will complement the surroundings. This request was heard by Planning Board before the adoption of 2025 zoning code. All of the zoning districts, as shown on all of the zoning districts from RS8 to RM44 were consolidated into a residential high-density district. So this request will translate into rezoning from low-density to high-density residential district. The county auditor's map shows which is used by Springfield community as a resource, was also updated to show the new zoning code map. So the current zoning district is residential low density, as shown on map. The previous code had units per acre calculation applicable, and the applicant had indicated that they wish to build approximately 240 units at this location. Under the new zoning code, the proposed high density residential district does not have the units per acre requirement, but any new use will be regulated based on minimum building setbacks and building height, and it will also have a maximum building coverage standard. So since the parcel is surrounded by low density parcels, if the rezoning is approved, any future multifamily development will have to be screened. North Bechtel Avenue and St. Paris Pike are classified as 80 feet wide secondary arterial public right-of-way. Return reports from city staff state no objections and recommend approval. City Planning and Zoning Division recommends approval as well. There are some comments. Any conditional uses listed under the proposed zoning district will need approvals from the Board of Zoning Appeals in future. Parts of the parcel are within the FEMA floodplain or the FEMA flood zone. Any new proposals will need floodplain development permit application. It will be the owner's responsibility to locate any utility easements prior to construction. So the overall staff recommendation is approval of applicant's request, and the applicant's request was recommended approval by the city planning board as well. Thank you.
Questions or comment from the commission?
Been any objections since that hearing?
No objections till date.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission?
At the
From-
Windy Knoll Golf Course, correct?
Yes.
Questions from the audience? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn this hearing?
I'll move. Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Brown, or Dr. Estrop?
Yes,
Sorry.
thank you.
Again, he's at home, Regina.
Sorry.
This hearing is adjourned. So we're going to third, number 3, correct?
102-25.
Okay. Public hearing scheduled for 6:50 is called to order. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Dr. Estrop?
Here,
Mrs. Houston?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Mr. Rue?
has proper legal notice been given of this public hearing?
Notice of a public hearing for the purpose of considering the proposed change in zoning for 1.06 acres located at 791 Woodbine Avenue, being parcel number 3400700029116022 from M2 Heavy Manufacturing District to RS8 Medium Density Single Family Residence District, was published in the Springfield News-Sun, a newspaper of general circulation within the city. Attached here too is a true and correct copy of the legal notice published on April 28, 2025.
I move that the communication be ordered, received, recorded in the minutes, and filed.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes. Staff report.
The applicant wishes to rezone subject parcel from manufacturing to residential zoning district. The subject parcel was recently combined and has had a house there since 1903. The current zoning allows for general manufacturing uses and does not support residential uses. The owner is requesting the proposed district, which will permit residential single-family use along with other use options. Zoning map from. So this case was also heard by the city planning board prior to new zoning codes adoption, and this request will become from rezoning from a low density residential district to a high density residential district, permitting for residential dwellings. All of the zoning districts from RS8 to RM44 were consolidated into residential high density district. And under the new zoning district, any future expansion or addition of structures to this parcel will be regulated based on minimum building setbacks and height, and will also have a maximum building coverage standard. So this is what the county GIS map shows. It is updated. And the zoning map from 1975 shows the subject parcel was zoned industrial district, and the parcel is also part of a subdivision plat. So the Woodbine Avenue is classified as local road by Clark County Thoroughfare Plan. Woodbine Avenue dead ends to this parcel and is the only point of access. There is an 11-feet alley running east-west of the parcel, which was vacated in 1970. Written reports from city staff state no objections and recommend approval. City Planning and Zoning Division also recommends approval. There are a few comments. Proposed zoning district complements the surrounding residential area. If request is approved by City Commission, any new structures, accessory uses, or site improvements will have to comply with dimensional standards and land use requirements. Any accessory shipping containers that exceeding 120 square feet cannot be on property for more than 7 days. The overall staff recommendation is approval of applicant's request, and the request was recommended approval by the City Planning Board as well. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from commissioners? Were there any objections to this between the action of the planning board and tonight?
No objections till date.
Very good, thank you. Questions or comments from commission? Questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes, we are adjourned. Brings us to our third and final public hearing of the night. I hereby call the public hearing scheduled for 6:65 to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Mrs. Houston?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Has proper legal notice been given for the public hearing?
Notice of a public hearing for the purpose of considering the application of codified ordinance section 1175.01 of the city's zoning code to a proposed annexation area commonly known as the 0 Maplewood Avenue annexation area, consisting of approximately 2.461 acres now located in Springfield Township, which annexation shall be considered by the City Commission on June 3rd, 2025, was published in the Springfield News-Sun, a newspaper of general circulation within the city. Attached here too is a true and correct copy of the legal notice published on April 28th, 2025.
I move that the communication be ordered, received, recorded in the minutes, and filed. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes. Staff report, please.
Waiting for the slide to show up. Okay. So the parcel as shown on slide is the property up for annexation. The parcel is not in the floodplain or floodway, and the zoning district assigned to this parcel will be a CLC, Light Commercial Corridor District. Thank you.
Annexation hearings, commissioners, so it's to identify what the floodplain classification is, as well as the zoning classification when it comes into the city.
So are there any questions or comments from commission? Thank you for that clarification. Any questions or comments from the audience on this matter? Please identify yourself.
There, my name is Clayton Schry. I'm the real estate director for Aldi here in Ohio. Just wanted to introduce myself and thank you for taking the time to listen to our annexation for this property. We're of course already in the community. We have our store on the west side, and we're eager to open a new store on the east side, which would likely happen next year.
Very good.
I can answer any questions, but thank you very much.
Questions from the commission?
Thank you for investing in our community. I love Audi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we look forward to working with you. Thank you. Any other questions, comments from the audience? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes, we are adjourned. It's 7:03, so I will call the City Commission official meeting of June the 3rd, 2025 to order. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Dr. Estrop?
Here,
Mrs. Houston?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Mr. Rue?
as I announced earlier, Mr. Rue is not able to join us tonight. So as Vice Mayor, I'll be chairing the meeting. Would you please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? God above, give us good guidance as we make decisions on behalf of the people of the city of Springfield. Give us patience, persistence, and wisdom in our decision making. In your name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of the Republic for which God visible liberty. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any comments or corrections from the commission? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes, thank you. Comments from the audience is next on the agenda. I first want to read the rules as outlined by the commission. City Commission remains committed to creating a conducive environment for constructive and productive dialogue and engagement for the community. Public comments will remain at the beginning of the legislative meeting following the passage of the minutes from the previous meeting. Those wishing to speak must fill out a public comment card and provide their name and address for the record. A state-issued ID or driver's license must be provided when filling out a card, and only those residing within Springfield and Clark County will be permitted to speak during the public comment period. Comment cards will be accepted after up to 15 minutes after the start of the formal legislative meeting. Those who are determined to have provided false information on the card will not be permitted to speak at this meeting, as well as the next regularly scheduled City Commission meeting. We are truly committed to making the meeting an environment where people have an opportunity to share their ideas, thoughts, and concerns. The Commission and the staff are listening, taking notes, and researching information relative to each of your comments. While honoring First Amendment principles, the City Commission reserves the right to regulate the time, place, and manner of public comments to ensure the proceedings remain orderly, respectful, and conducive to constructive dialogue. While we fully respect the First Amendment rights of all individuals, disruptions or any conduct that impedes the orderly progress of the meeting will not be tolerated. Should any individual be escorted or asked to leave due to disruptive behavior on 3 separate occasions, they will be notified that they are considered trespass and barred from attending any further City Commission meeting. After the public comment period, City Commission may respond to matters brought forth during the public comment period and will also direct the city manager and staff to answer questions posed during the public comment period. If a question asked requires additional research from the city manager and staff, they will follow up with the individual within the next several business days and also post those answers to the city's website. Thank you very much. First card I have is Glenda Bailey.
Ohio State Properties LLC and other entities have bought around 180 vacant lots in the city, intending to build low-income rental properties on the land. Ohio State Properties LLC used United States Corporation Agents, Inc., a commercial registered agent that is a service that creates and incorporates shell companies. These agents offer services to help shield the true owners of the shell company. For example, by providing nominee directors to file paperwork in their name. Shell companies can be used for illegal activities such as money laundering, tax evasion, and disguising business ownership. The Clark County Land Bank, the City of Springfield, the Metropolitan Housing Authority, and other entities have all been in discussion with and facilitated Ohio State Properties LLC and others to develop vacant lots. The projects are seeking to gain taxpayer funding for the developments. I would like to know the names of the individuals involved in the procuring, purchasing, and development of the nearly 180 vacant lots in the city. As a taxpayer, I have the right to know who the City of Springfield, the County Land Bank, the Metropolitan Housing Authority, and others are dealing with, and I have the right to demand transparency in the process. Your fiduciary duty is to the taxpayer, and you owe no anonymity to the individuals involved in these purchases meant for development. To do so would be tantamount to admitting your own corrupt practices in these land deals. I would like to know the names of all the individuals involved in these land deals from start to finish. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Beth Donahue.
Both gun violence and domestic violence have one thing in common. Both are preventable before it begins. Since 2021, Springfield has monetized gun violence. The result has been massive donations and grant funding for the city, the county, and for nonprofits like OIC and the NAACP. There is an ecosystem of funding surrounding gun violence initiatives. We are witnessing multiple agencies and organizations descending on Springfield vying for resources. The Youth Gun Violence Grant couldn't accomplish anything in 2 years before funding was cut. We have Dion Green with the Fudge Foundation competing for space in this arena, and now the emergence of Springfield Youth Source, a nonprofit pulling in funding from Springfield Foundation. The sheer amount of money allocated to studying gun violence in Springfield could support a third world country, and still, money and resources have not transformed Springfield. Since 2018, Clark County Sheriff's Department has received millions of dollars in grants for domestic violence. And how has it reduced domestic violence? It has not. Gun violence and domestic violence have more in common. Offenders are between the ages of 20 and 27. Many domestic violence charges come with weapons charges. Note, I said offenders. The offenders are adults. These adults are repeat and habitual offenders with weapons charges and domestic violence charges. Gun violence and domestic violence have the same core group of interconnected people charged with violent crimes. Keyword here is charged, not convictions. Gun violence and domestic violence offenders have their charges dismissed regularly and are back out on the street committing crime. My advice to anyone here, don't listen to anything the mayor and commissioners say. 3 of the commissioners will be out at the end of the year. They are lame ducks. The other commissioner will talk about operating out of her silo and say she feels your pain. And the mayor, every time he moves his lips, he's lying. If you want real change, you must address the actual perpetrators of gun violence. You must address the generational use of gun violence. You must address the repeat and habitual victimization by the same offenders. You must address the access to illegally purchased guns. Being proactive, I know, is hard work. You must put in the time in every day and be proactive. You must stand up and be accountable for your approaches. The time to address gun violence is now. You must demand our justice system holds reoffenders accountable now. There has been too much pain and suffering caused by gun violence and domestic violence in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Yvonne Owen.
Good evening. The town hall meeting for June the 14th at the Fire Station 8 on South Limestone. What time is that meeting and where do you?
We'll have the answer for you. That was June the 14th, town hall meeting.
Yeah, it's a
thank you.
consolidated plan meeting. I'll get information from Logan on time.
Next is Marcita Jeffrey. And I apologize, I had a little trouble reading it. So,
Not writing. It's okay.
okay. Thank you.
At the last meeting or the meeting before, you gave us a little bit of information on some of the federal money that has been pulled back.
I'm sorry. Yes, there you go.
Okay.
Thank you. That'll
At
help.
the last meeting or the meeting before, you gave us a little bit of information on the federal money that has been pulled back from Springfield or stopped frozen from Springfield. Could you go into more depth with that and tell us what we have lost since that last meeting?
I will
And my third part is, how can we help push back?
be happy to give that report. In fact, we have it tonight to put on the screen. And I think effective today, it's on our website, but we'll have that federal and state cut report as part of our comment. Jacob Putnam.
Good evening. I see a lot of construction in town, though exciting. I'm not really impressed with homes that no one can afford, road construction that's lasting for over a year, no real attractions, and no growth in the job market. The average salary in Springfield, Ohio is $46,412, which comes out to $22.31 as of April 25. After taxes, that comes out to $34,236, which equals out to $16.46 on the hour. For comparisons, the average salary at McGregor is $15.49. International is $17 on the hour. Stanley Electric over in London is $18.55 on the hour. Target Distribution is $18.75 an hour. However, Topre is $19.50 on the hour. Springfield's income growth is at a slow but consistent rate of 1.71%. However, the Springfield's property value increase is currently sitting at 5.39%. Melody Park's rates is $369,000 to $729,000 according to Fisher, and $248,000 according to Realtor.com. East Leffel Lane area has no pricing yet. Behind Walmart on Tuttle Road is $270,000 according to Zillow. So who are buying these homes? There's no job growth unless you're in the restaurant or car wash business. Why are we not bringing in more manufacturing jobs, such as aerospace, automotive, agriculture, etc.? There's a reason Springfield is called the Champion City and was the industry powerhouse in the late 1800s and early 1900s. I think it's time that we take that title back and make it something. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is David Rose.
How y'all doing tonight? Can we get a moment of silence for all the gun victims in the last 2 weeks in Clark County? As you know,
David, I'm sorry, could you raise your mic a little bit? Thank you.
Tracy, you know me. I do a lot in the community. Okay. My son was killed 2 weeks ago at 3 a.m. corner of Elder and Buckeye. I'm asking a meeting with Rob Rood, Chief Elliott, and Sheriff Chris. I'm requesting a meeting. We need to come up with, stop trying to be part of the problem or be part of the solution. We need to put down the gun. We need to come up with a solution. Commissioners, you're sitting up on this board. Everybody's coming to you. And the only thing I'm doing month after month is seeing how you guys are selling land, making a profit, taking everything that the kids have and closing it and selling it to gas stations, to everything. We need to start being a positive, setting a role model for these kids. That's why these kids are going to guns. That's why they're turning to the streets. They don't have nothing. Can we come up with a plan and a resolution to this problem? You guys don't understand the hurt until it hits home. It's already been in my home once. Look it up in history. 1997, July. Man gone mad, guy gone mad in Clark County. My sister, my niece, and my other niece was, my sister and my niece was killed, and my other niece was paralyzed. Now my son's taken from me. My brother Matthew Yates was taken in 2022. What do we got to do for you guys to wake up on this board to stop selling everything? Make something for the kids to do positive. What do we got to do? You guys sit around, you buy trucks all the time when you don't need to be buying trucks. Take that money and do something constructive. Make a park for the kids to go play basketball. Make a park where they can go play checkers. Give them something positive. They don't have nothing positive in Clark County no more. And that's because everybody on the commissioner's board always thinking about money. Money can't get you into heaven. I have a street ministry. Tracy knows me. I do a lot in this community. My son did a lot in this community. You guys need to step up, either do your job or take your pen, sign a paper, resign. Put someone on that board that will do something positive for the community.
Thank you. Your time is up. Next, Jimmy Stewart.
Good evening. I'm going to talk about gun violence. I'm going to talk about what I tried to get an answer for last week at the commissioners meeting. I asked everybody up there, I said, hey, what is your murder count? What is Springfield's murder victim count for 2023 and 2022? You guys didn't answer. A simple question. You all should know it. Commissioners, Brian Heck, why can't the city be transparent to your citizens? We're talking about people dying, but you don't want to release the information. Today you have plenty of time. You have a captive audience here. So just tell everyone here, how many murder victims are there in 2025? This year, up to now. How many murder victims did you record, the city, in 2024, 2023, and 2022? Real easy question. Actually, so in 2021, because that's kind of when everything started. Got time? Have Jill Allen look it up. I'd ask the mayor, but he's not here. City Manager Heck's here. You can give me an answer. Tracy Tackett, you can give me an answer. Dr. Eastrup, you can give me an answer. Commissioner Brown, you can give me an answer. Commissioner Houston, you can give me an answer. Jill Allen, City Attorney, you can give me an answer. Jason By, he can give me an answer. public service, right? Public safety. Police chief's here. I can get an answer. Because he's talking about murder, gun violence. Yet you're not clear. You won't release information. How can we even begin to have a conversation if we're not going to be transparent? The definition of murder, non-negligent manslaughter. The FBI defines a murder and non-negligent manslaughter as the willful, non-negligent killing of one human being by another. Willful, non-negligent killing. This means the killing was intentional, not accidental, or due to negligence. I define my terms. We're talking the same language. At least everybody put their cell phones down and they're not waving. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Next up is Clara Copeland. Pass. Thank you. Next up, Diana Daniels.
I'm going to start with my questions so I don't get rushed. Question number 1, who was or is responsible for scheduling and placing the medical bus? If it is any of you, number 2, why did it not visit where the need was the greatest, which was the warming center? Number 3, whose idea was it for the infamous Immigration Accountability Task Force? Now I'm going to pick up where I have left off. I've given a definition.
I'm sorry, Diane.
Yes.
I didn't hear I heard the first question. I didn't hear the next two. I'm sorry. Could you repeat those, please?
Yes, reclaiming my time.
And we will not penalize your time.
Okay, so which one? Okay, I'm
I
going to
need
start.
numbers 2 and 3.
Okay. So this was in relationship to the medical bus. If any of you were responsible for the scheduling and placing the medical bus, why did it not visit where the need was the greatest, which was the warming center up here over the winter? Number 3, whose idea was it for the infamous Immigration Accountability Task Force? Who decided that that was a great idea? Okay. You got those now, David? I'm sorry, Mr. Estra.
What was the name of the task force again,
The
please?
Immigration Accountability Task Force.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. You got it all now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, picking up where I left off, I've given a definition or a difference between an ordinance and a resolution. I missed one. I didn't tell you about a preamble. A preamble is an introductory statement in a document that explains its purpose, philosophy, and the intentions of its author. The preamble often sets the stage for the main content and offers context for understanding the document's significance. In this case, outlining the goals of the Resolution 5844. Number 3, I'm going to pick up. Whereas this commission of 2014 understands that today's world is increasingly mobile and supports a global economy, and number 5, I'm skipping, whereas this commission appreciates, and that's 2014, the important role that global talent and immigrant workers play in building a more robust local economy, and, there will be more, and wait just a doggone minute. That doesn't sound quite right now, does it, for a little town like Springfield? These two sound like the authors of this lengthy document, the Resolution 5844, read the position paper of the globalist crowd in response to the 2000 United Nations paper on population, migration, and the global economy. Who back then was a fan of the Marxist Klaus Schwab? Let's go back to number 5, building a more robust local economy. If immigrant workers play such a vital role, the fountain outside here should be spitting out cascading $100 bills. Instead, you are begging the state and the Fed for financial help for this disaster, this crisis. Number 6, whereas this commission determines that Springfield, Ohio should be a community welcoming of immigrants and immigrant-owned businesses. Number 4, whereas this commission recognizes that population decline is a threat, scary term, to economic stability, and a proactive approach to immigrants can help offset the loss of working-age residents anticipated in the future. Wow. That sounds like the mission statement for Carl Ruby's 5013C3 Welcome Springfield, now doesn't it? That begs the question. Since Welcome Springfield, the resolution making Springfield a welcoming city are so closely related, who wrote the resolution? The legal team for the city or Carl Ruby? Good question. Let's find the answer.
Thank you very much. Next up, Peg Foley.
Good evening. Hope you can hear me. Just thank you all for your service during these challenging times. Really appreciate each of you and all of the members of the city team. I'm very excited to hear about the new housing that we have in Springfield and the new parks, new businesses. Shifting gears a little bit, I do have a continuing concern about our unhoused neighbors. And if you could provide periodic reports on how we're doing addressing that, I would appreciate that. Shifting to our neighbors who come from abroad, I have great concerns about decisions at the federal level to discontinue humanitarian parole and temporary protected status. I also have concerns about the federal government detaining and deporting people without due process. I wish at the federal level we would be exploring pathways to legal residency and pathways to citizenship, because we've had many immigrant people here being productive and helping our community and our economy for many years. And it would be, I think, a fair and just thing for us to be able to provide a pathway to citizenship. In that regard, I have written to Senators Moreno and Husted, and I've also written to Congressman Turner, and just would encourage people to take that opportunity to be in contact with our federal elected officials. In closing, I'd just like to thank you all again. I think we are moving forward together. And my hope is that as we move forward, that we do treat all of our neighbors with dignity and respect and due process. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last card, Jeff Atley, is it? Jeff, help me out. Alan? Jeff? Okay, thank you. Sorry. I had a little difficulty reading your writing. I apologize.
Sorry. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, commissioners. Here today I was here to talk about some traffic issues, but I got with the chief of police, and I think we have a plan for that. So since I'm here, I did want to ask about the land bank, legality of it, the state laws that are govern it, and then the city laws. Because what I think is happening, I can't say it sure. I think there's people who's gathering up a bunch of capital and running a play in Springfield, and it shouldn't be like a group can come and take advantage of one law and control the board. And so I'm concerned about that. Okay. So I had that question. My question is, legality of it hasn't been tested in the court. Okay. Second thing, Elderly United. Everybody loves it. It sits empty most of the time. The time when the kids could have something to do, it's closed. The elderly are there in the morning. They're done by 4 o'clock. So we're spending a lot of money on a building. I know it's got to do with the county as well. But everybody's in this county, in this city, are connected. And I'm just wondering, why don't we look into using those facilities for the whole community? And I know it may be a corporation or a private group. I'm not sure, but I know a lot of public money goes in. Okay. Let's see. I think about the guns and the violence. we can't sit here and pretend that the state didn't vote to let everyone carry guns and concealed weapons every place, anytime, any place in the city. And you can't blame a 17-year-old or someone who's just below the age who may be in an environment with adults who all have guns, and they be at a disadvantage. So what I'm saying is, no, we're not going to come to a conclusion on it, but we need to open up our eyes and really say what's going on. We can't just say, oh, it's this or that. Yeah, everybody has guns. This is where we are, and we have to deal with that. But that's all I had to say. I just I had some extra time, so I came down this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. E, if that's the last of the cards, I do have several comments.
Yeah, let's take the cards in order if you're okay with that.
I just really wanted to speak to the gun violence pieces.
Okay,
If
by all
I may.
means, because several speakers spoke to it.
Yes. So, as a child, I saw one of my brother's friends shot and killed, and I saw him running home as his blood dripped on the sidewalk, and he died on his way to his house. A few years later, my cousin, Rodney Eugene Harris, was shot and killed. Now, I can go on and on and on with people that I know, people that I love. So I personally take offense to saying the blanket statements that no one on City Commission cares about gun violence. What we continue to do as a nation, as a community, as a state, as we continue to put Band-Aids on things, and we talk about all the things in the room except for the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is the fact that we don't address poverty. And we don't address systemic racism. And those things play directly into, I don't know if you've all have heard of an ACES survey. I work with students very specifically for almost all of the years I've been with Springfield City Schools who have emotional disturbances, or either they are socially maladjusted. Okay? Again, I've said this so many times. Students that have been in my classroom are now dying. I thought that I was so shocked when Keisha Cole's son, Jeffrey, was killed, because I said, my God, it was my brother's friends, and then it became our friends, and now it's our children. So we can continue to play pity pat with one another and not get to the root of this and blame this city commission, who just before they were talking about the places and all of the small pocket parks and all of the things. It's like when we give people data and actual facts, those things are just thrown away, and then you charge forward with your opinion. To the gentleman whose son passed, I so deeply apologize, sir, for your loss. I have no words that I could even imagine to give you to comfort you at this time, but I understand what you are going through. It is not just, it just happens so much. I've been around so much gun violence myself personally. So to say, and I'm not saying that to you, sir. I just wanted to tell you from the bottom of my heart that my heart goes out to you. My prayers are with you. So also in the other shootings, what y'all don't understand is that they're my students. Every time I get a text message, I ask Brian, what are their names? And every time I open up the offenders list for the juvenile detention center, there's 17 kids, 9 or 10 of them are mine. So if you think that I wake up every single day and serve these kids, that just goes away when I come to this part-time job at night, that is insanity to me. And there are so many things for our kids to do that I don't think that I don't know if the audience that we have here has any connections to any students that are in schools, because there's so many things. My nephew is at a camp with some of my kids that are actually doing quite well in high school, playing sports, doing the things. They're away at camp right now at no cost to them. Then we have this fun little book here. As a school teacher, my mother had us busy all summer long. And now that I was a school teacher and raised my own 2 kids, I fully understand why she kept us busy. I signed my daughter, Alana Foster, who just graduated from high school this last weekend, for every single free camp that is in this book. You know why? Because she needed to be busy. I signed her up for every class at the library, every single thing. There are so many things for our kids to do here. We have U Media that is open for anybody in the county that's high school age and now 8th grade. I mean, we've got to stop coming up here and just acting like and pointing blame at each other and saying, well, families shouldn't have the guns or that shouldn't be the environment those children are living in. But it is what it is and it's real. Until we address that and we begin to treat each other the way Christ intended us to treat one another, with respect, I don't see how it's going to get any better. And I, again, absolutely, to call me a lame duck is insanity to me. I just cannot continue to serve the community in this capacity, because the things that I'd like to say to the lunacy that comes forward to us every 2 weeks is insanity. So I'll go back to my business of serving the city the way I did prior. And I've said this so many times. So again, if anybody, sir, if you'd like to meet with me at any time, I would be honored to meet with you to work on anything with gun violence.
I'm sorry. This is not an exchange, a conversation. This is
I did
time,
address
sir. You are welcome to meet. You are welcome to meet,
Sir,
with
I would like to
Commissioner
give you
after the
my
meeting.
information right now. My email address is phillipscrystal10@gmail.com.
Okay, the only thing I was gonna say was, I didn't make no disrespect.
Nope.
I said, what we gotta do is take the hindrance to a
Can we hear from this man, please? Please, just out of due respect to the loss of his child,
You know,
Dr.
everybody
Estra.
can sit up here and go home and see their kids. I can't.
I understand.
I can't. So everybody in this room, instead of being part of the problem, let's be part of the solution. If you see it, report it. It ain't snitching. It's cleaning the streets up, going back to like we were in the 80s.
Thank you.
Report it.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Dr. Estra.
Guns, man. Put the guns down. Pick up the Bibles. Look at my truck out there. Take the time and walk
Thank
out there
you,
and look
sir.
at that truck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That's what you need to do. Me and you don't have a good history.
Sir, one more outburst and we'll have to have you removed.
I'm sorry for even starting that, sir. And I hope you got my email address. That's my personal email. And so I would love at any point in time to meet with you to do any work whatsoever on anything that has to do with, and that's for everybody as well, with youth and anything at all. So I just want to let that be known. And so my heart breaks for these families. There were 3 of my students involved in those shootings. You don't get up and go to work every day and pour into people with everything that you have for that to continue to be the outcome. And at that point, I have nothing else to say. So you can call me a lame duck. You can do all the things. You can come up here and not believe anything that was presented in front of you. Affordable housing, there was a whole presentation about affordable housing right before that comment. So I'm going to start using my time to start really talking to the people for real, because I feel like I've sat here and been extremely nice all this time, and we got to start talking and being honest with one another. And again, always being Christ-like as possible. Thank you guys for that time.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Any other commissioners wish to speak on this subject of gun violence?
I do.
Tracy?
Just tagging off of what Commissioner Brown shared. Actually, her nephew was at camp with my son at Young Life. I have an 18-year-old son, Mason, who goes to STEM. And I remember having a conversation with him once about, can you just get a gun? He goes, they can all get guns. We can all get guns. You can get it right on social media. So it went into a deeper conversation about social media and the access they have. It went into a deeper conversation of, let's look at the video games. Let's go back to video games. I mean, this is way deeper than a Clark County Commission meeting on gun violence and issues. Now, every time I'm here, I always try to share resources of events happening in this community, Last meeting, I shared that the library had a ton of activities, and like you, I kept my kids busy. So, just to kind of share along with things happening in this community. Again, my son was at Young Life Camp with Springfield High kids, had a blast, and they just got back, by the way. We also, like I said, have the library. We have partners in prevention. They're always doing stuff for youth. We have, if you go to the United Way website, it's uwccmc.org. There's 30 agencies on there. Great resource. All working with kids, all trying to improve services and opportunities here in Clark County. When we talk about the gun violence as well, for me, they had brought up Dion Green, and he lost his dad at the Dayton shooting at the Oregon district. Saying I'm just here as commission and I'm new to the game, I stay in my own silo. I met that man at the Esplanade.
Tracy, let me talk to you for a second. I've known him my entire, for years and years. Yeah. That's hit me up close and personal, right? And to speak on him and his partner and his children, I mean, it's just insanity to me, right?
Yes. So back then, years ago, I started getting in the game. I started to know Dion Green. I worked with Caleb on that gun violence grant we just got. I went to the juvenile court system. How many of y'all been there? Right? So if you want to talk about there's no work being done by commissioners in regards to gun violence, you are way off. And I would love to have a side conversation with you afterwards if you want more resources. Thank you.
Mr. Manager, do you care to weigh in on this?
I was going to ask if Jill Allen wanted to read specifically to gun violence. It was talked about homicides, and so if Jill wants to read those numbers from 21 through 25.
I'd be happy to read that information. I believe we provided this in a records request to someone else, and I'm happy to provide it to anyone else who wants it. The number of murder victims per year for 2021 was 9, 2022, 8, 2023, 11, 2024, 6. The number of murder offenders per year, 2021, 9, 2022, 8, 2023, 11, 2024, 6. And for 2025, so far, 7, I believe.
Jill, could you repeat those perhaps a little slower, because I see people taking notes.
Absolutely.
And Jill,
Thank
can
you.
you also cite where you are getting your data from?
So the data is going to be from our annual crime reports, or what we report to neighbors. It is for making sure I have it absolutely correct here, 2021, 9, 2022, 8. This is for murder victims, 2023, 11, 2024, 6. 2025 is 7. The number of murder offenders per year for 2021 is 9, 2022 is 8, 2023, 11, and 2024 is 6. And as I said, 7 to 2025.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brian, anything else you want to comment on?
Yeah, a couple of the questions, there was, I believe it was the first speaker spoke about a properties group. I'll work with the land bank to get the information from them, and we can provide that to you as it relates to that. The next question was as it related to a consolidated planning meeting, which is at Fire Station 8 on South Limestone, Saturday the 14th at 10:30 a.m. One of the items was I just wanted to highlight, because it brought up about bringing jobs and so forth, and just the number of jobs in the last 5 to 7 years, and some of these really recent with Silfex, Topre, 5C DC Data Center, Gabe's Distribution, which are all still adding jobs in our community and will continue to grow into the future. There was a mention of aerospace, so a lot that's going on out at Springfield Beckley Municipal Airport as it relates to aerospace jobs with us being really a hub of advanced air mobility with over 14 new companies with space at the National Advanced Air Mobility Center of Excellence. And then also growth with Select Tech, which is a longstanding tenant of the Springfield Beckley Municipal Airport, and they continue to grow as well. We're also partnering with GISA, the Global Impact STEM Academy, and our community schools, as well as our workforce development teams at Greater Springfield Partnership and beyond, to align and to position students for those future job opportunities that exist at the airport. And then we're constantly working with our economic development partners at the county, Greater Springfield Partnership in the city, and other parties as well to position Springfield to attract other business development opportunities. And then the housing that was referenced is growth related to these hiring opportunities, as companies have said that a lot of their employees are talking about the need or the want for new homes being constructed in our community that we have not seen. And these homes will also continue to attract new industries into Springfield as well.
Since you brought up the airport, the students have an opportunity at some of the schools. They take them out on tours out there, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
we're always giving tours out there, and then with working with our partners at Dayton Development Coalition, Jobs Ohio, and other partners to tour and highlight and illustrate the opportunities that exist in the advanced aerospace industry.
Excellent.
I was going to add on to your comment, Brian, regarding housing. The Melody Park development is moving faster than anticipated with home growth, which is amazing.
Yes.
Diana Daniels had a number of questions.
Yeah, the medical bus, that was the Clark County Combined Health District. They were provided the bus, I believe, as part of an initiative with the state of Ohio. So the city did not have any, we were not involved in scheduling or placement of that vehicle. And then Immigration Accountability Task Force, that was something City Commission had asked the city manager and staff to specifically form together to look at some of the issues that were brought forward as it relates to housing and overhousing or overpopulation of housing and driving issues and driving concerns. So to bring that together to get a better understanding of those challenges and those issues that were brought forward specifically during the fall, but even prior to that, really since 2023. And I believe that was all the specific questions brought forward.
Okay, thank you. I would like to make some comments about several things.
Oh, I'm sorry. In United Senior Services, I know that was brought up. They are funded. They have their own revenue stream, including a property tax levy that is provided to them. They are a separate entity. They own their facility. They program their facility. We would not have anything to do with United Senior Services and the programming that happens at that building. The legality of the land bank? Yes, that is a state of Ohio. Ohio Revised Code sets up the ability for land banks to be created in each county in Ohio. So the Clark County Land Reutilization Corporation is the land bank that's been designated through the state statute in the state of Ohio to operate.
Please see Mr. Heck after the meeting. That would be good. I have several things I would like to comment on. I don't believe the simple answer to this issue of our children shooting other children is as simple as some propose, and that is simply arm everybody. I do not believe that's the answer that will serve our community well. I feel very strongly about it. But yet that's what we're being told here in Ohio and what we're being told at the national level. Arm everybody. My God, we're going back to the old West of the 1860s. That's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. We need to find ways, as Commissioner Brown so eloquently spoke tonight, find ways to provide opportunities. And we're trying. We talked tonight about yet a new park. How much have we spent at Snyder this year?
Maybe more.
Pretty good bundle of money. Putting in additional features at that park. Davy Moore, we put additional features in Davy Moore. And yet that apparently doesn't count.
Pickleball court. Here.
Pickleball courts right out there being used right now. And we were criticized. Should have put the money in the streets. Well, we put it in things that people use in addition to the streets. We put over $2 million a year in our streets. We went 9 years with no street paving because the state government cut our local government funding. And we damn near went bankrupt as a city. If it hadn't been for all the citizens of Springfield stepping forward and passing a levy, we would have been bankrupt. So thank you. Not to the state of Ohio. That money has never come back, and looking ahead, the prospects of it coming back are slim and none, and slim may have left town. In terms of more good jobs, I agree. We need all the jobs we can get, but we've been doing pretty well on it. As evidence, look at the number of people coming to Springfield to live, work, and play. We have more houses now on the market than in my memory and in most people's memory. Horton Hobbs reported to us we have over 3,100 housing units somewhere between design and being built. 3,100. We haven't had that in 30 or 40 years. You heard tonight of affordable housing that's will be under construction, so we can in fact offer housing for everyone. It's all about housing across the entire spectrum from affordable to top end. So I'm not accepting the fact that we've sat on our duffs and done nothing about housing. We have done more about housing in the last 7 years than in the previous 40. And the results are showing themselves all over this city. Up here on Fountain, out here on Euclid, out east, out southeast, all over this city. You see housing being developed and built. So that just doesn't wash with me. Concerns about federal government immigration and citizenship, I'm going to fold into my federal and state cut report. Can you get that on the screen, please?
Dr. Estrop,
This is now, oh, I'm sorry.
before you go into your presentation, can you kind of tie in all of the things that we've been able to fund recently, Davy Moore Park, improvements for our community? Can you explain where those funding sources came from and if they're on the chopping block or not?
Well, that's a very good question, and that's what, in part, I'm going to get to. What you're about to see on the screen is now available on our website, along with a narrative that goes into a description of greater detail about this spreadsheet. And I want to thank Ava Wills for her excellent work. She's our intern going to the Ohio State University, who's been working with City Manager Heck and myself putting this together. And I want to compliment her and thank her for her work. We are only putting up here programs, reductions, or additions that we have been formally notified of. So the line, the decision line is not, is somebody proposing this? No. The decision line is, this has already happened or is in the process of happening. So as decisions get made, particularly at the state level around the state budget, and at the federal level around the federal budget, we expect this list to get much longer. This is also a vision test. Thank you, Brian. So here are the threes in a grand total that we have received information, definitive information from the state or federal government. So in the first column is the date we received that notice. So you see the first one came on March, if I can read it, March 24th. The organization or agency that was affected was the Clark County Combined Health District. The source of funding that is being reduced in this case is the Federal Department of Health and Human Services. And the name of the grant that was reduced is Enhanced Operations 2023 Grant. And I'm sorry, Bridget, I can't read that number. Can you read it for me?
For the $2 million
Dollars lost.
for the total or the Clark County?
The health department, right? The very first.
$2,737,982.
And the name of the grant, or the percent of the grant,
74%.
74% of that grant they lost. And the service or goods affected are obviously health services. The primary impact is the community of Clark County. And the secondary impact is the Clark County Combined Health District, which lost, is it 8? I'm having trouble reading. 8 staff members. So we've seen a reduction in health services of 8 people affecting health services in this county. And we are accounting for city and county. The next one is the Second Harvest Food Bank. It came in on 4/9/25 from the Federal Department of Agriculture. The Emergency Food Assistance Program was cut to the tune of, help me out, Bridget,
$210,960. 100% of the grant.
100% of the grant.
And 75 cents.
And the service or item cut, in this case, very straightforward, it's food. How many people are impacted?
21,000 individuals lost 3 weeks of food.
And the secondary impact, and this might come as a surprise to you, are some local farmers who in fact had contracts with the Second Harvest Food Bank to provide fresh produce to families here in Springfield and Clark County. They are now out searching for new clients, new customers, and looking at having to change crops that they may be raising. The last one is OIC, and we received notice of this on 4/22 from the Federal Department of Justice. And given the topic of conversation tonight, the irony is not lost on me. It's a community violence intervention and prevention grant amounting to, Bridget, how much?
$1,235,511, equating to 77% of the grant.
OIC headed this project up, but a number of agencies and organizations were involved in this grant, but has been pulled. The service or good affected, obviously you can see youth gun violence. Primary impact is on community safety. and loss of staff, secondary impact. So to date, the last line is total. Bridget, if you could please read for everyone what the total is lost to date.
$4,184,454.
And in this case, it's all federal money. So the question that was raised, who do I write to?
Right to you.
Write to your congressman, and we will post that information on our website. You can make that happen, please.
Yes, we can post the information for our legislators. I do want to remind everyone, this information and then some narratives that expands on the impacts is also available on our website. If you go to www.springfieldohio.gov, on our homepage, there is a direct link for the federal and state cut impacts to our community, and it will have a running total. So we will update that as new information becomes available.
And I do want to add to that, speaking of the irony, I just want to remind everyone that cast their vote for our current president in 2024. I mean, we should be yahooing, right? Because this is what was voted for by those individuals. So I am not shocked. I mean, it was practically written in stone. And so every day my teachers also call me asking me when are the special education dollars going to be cut, because that's also federally funded, or when is IDEA going to be cut, which gives individuals with significant disabilities the right to be in schools. But this is what you all voted for, so I'm not sure of the shock or the dismay. This is exactly what they wanted.
As I said, this is information that has been confirmed from the sources listed, and we are not speculating at this point. Now, could some of this be restored? Absolutely. The OIC and the partners have appealed the decision of the Justice Department to pull this grant. If the U.S. Justice Department chooses, they could restore the money. The Second Harvest Food Bank was told that, in fact, the food had already been purchased and was sitting in a warehouse somewhere. But it's not coming here. Could somebody wake up to that reality, if in fact it's accurate, and say, gee, we already purchased the food, maybe we ought to distribute it? Yes, that could happen. We will report it if it does. So you know that it says dollars lost or gained, because we want to be honest, because there may be some things that initially get cut. We have seen this at the federal level in particular, only in a week or two or a couple of days to have those funds and those people restored. So we'll try to keep a running tally of this. As Brian said, this is all on our website. We appreciate the organizations and agencies who are keeping us informed of the status of things. As I mentioned, the big decisions are going to be with the state budget and the federal budget. Already decisions are being made at the federal level. We don't see those kinds of decisions getting made right now at the state level. But we will put the names of our elected state and federal representatives and senators on our website with their address and contact information. They do read their mail and follow it very carefully. I want to encourage you, if this disturbs you, make sure your voice is heard. Is there anything else that any of the commission wants to say? Yes.
Brian, I was hoping that you might kind of talk about how many properties, pertaining to specifically, we had a couple comments tonight about the land bank, how much we spend a year demolishing homes within the city of Springfield and the danger it presents and the cost it presents to the city.
Yeah, Commissioner, so
I know it doesn't directly relate to the land bank, but eventually sometimes it does.
Yeah, Land Bank certainly has applied and utilized funds from the state of Ohio to help demolish as well. But, you know, we just approved a contract a couple meetings ago for Tony Smith Wrecking for the demolition of houses. We approved this year $400,000, which equates to about 40 homes, including the ancillary structures. Like garages and so forth. And, you know, over the last 10 years, we anywhere between 40 and 100 homes a year. And we can't demolish our way out of it. We know we need housing in our community. Unfortunately, some of those homes are too far gone and are not able to bring back and to be put back into productive use. But you know, if you equate 75, you know, it's gone up just slightly, but $7,500 to $10,000 on average to demolish a structure. And we've, you know, at least in my time with the city, again, have averaged anywhere between 40 to 100 homes. It's, you know, a lot of money goes into demolishing structures that become abandoned that we hope that we can restore. Now, we've instituted programs like vacant property registry, receivership, and other property programs like that to try, again, to curtail the amount of homes that we have to demolish in our community. Because, again, we cannot demolish our way out of our problem.
Thank you.
Commissioner Tackett wanted to speak, but there's something I want to add. When property is abandoned, ultimately it reverts back to the state of Ohio. And I'll tell you, the state of Ohio is a lousy landlord. They don't cut their grass. They don't pick up their garbage. They don't repair any structure. But that's who owns the abandoned property ultimately, is the state of Ohio. We're coming behind them to try to get some property back on the tax rolls so people in this community have good homes to live in. We're tearing down those where the bones are shot. There's no hope of restoring them. So we're trying to attack this from a variety of different programs. But let's be frank, at the end of the day, the state of Ohio owns property that ultimately becomes vacant and no one claims it. You want to make any comment on that, Brian?
I mean, what you hit on is exactly right, is eventually it gets forfeited to the state. We've talked, just talking about vacant lots, so once a home's demolished and it becomes, you know, grass, the state has told us if we want it maintained and cut, you can spend the money to maintain and cut it. And so we do. We spend a lot of money to maintain those because those are blighting influences on neighborhoods. And so we certainly trying to put those vacant lots, especially back into productive use, working with the land bank. We provided some of our home art dollars to the land bank to be able to institute a program to try to bring new houses online in those neighborhoods. The Mo-to-Own program has been successful, but that's not putting back into these neighborhoods new houses that help stabilize the housing market in those individual neighborhoods.
And one of the things that former Mayor Warren spoke often was the need for infill housing developing in the heart of the city. And we're finally getting there.
Right. Affordable housing.
Affordable housing, all housing. We're finally getting there, where we're getting some new housing development within the city itself, close to downtown. And we're even getting housing downtown. You've seen the progress on the Wren building? Seen the progress on, what's it now called, Fairbanks building?
Fairbanks building.
Both apartments that are under construction with commercial activity on the first and second floor. So things are happening. And I just read today that Springfield is now the 6th best place to buy a home in the state of Ohio. So in spite of some of our problems, we are, by national publication, the 6th best place in Ohio to live and hopefully work and play. Commissioner Tack.
Commissioner Houston, did you?
Oh, I'm sorry,
She wanted to
Bridget.
finish up.
Yeah, no, the only thing I had is I talked to Leanne Costello at NTPRD today. These will be going out to everyone, this guide for things to do in the summer if you haven't already received it in the mail. They will also be at the entrance to City Hall. And one last thing while we're on the topic of how there are so many things to do in the community for free, the Summer Arts Festival starts next week as well.
Thank you.
There's so many things to do. I have a list here. Is nothing that you all have mentioned. So I will continue on with that. And I appreciate the citizens that come onto camera and actually stay around to get the explanations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's continue with activities for, parents to look into. Springfield Promise Neighborhood, fantastic organization. We support them. They have been here several times. They actually hosted an event where other organizations came in and shared camp information. There's so many summer camps. We had to hold an event where you could shop for camps for your kids this summer. That's Springfield Promise Neighborhood on Facebook and Instagram, I believe. They also have a website. Project Woman also has a kids camp. The Sheriff Clark, I believe he started his Rangers Club up. So that is a youth guided program over there at the Clark County Sheriff's Department. The YMCA, I know my niece and nephew, they go over there, they play basketball. I believe they have a summer program as well. Planet Fitness, your kids can go, if your kids are in high school, they can go work out at Planet Fitness for free this summer. If you're a citizen that wants to get involved in crime prevention, we have the Springfield Citizens Police Academy. I went through it 1.5 times because of COVID, and I'm always preaching how much I learned during that time there. Flower beds. Oh, you guys into planting flowers and activities with your family or organization? We have 9 flower beds left in the city through the beautification committee that are looking for volunteers. You don't have to have any of the resources. It's already paid for. We just need the help with volunteers to make the city beautiful and adopt a bed. You can reach me at ttackett@springfieldohio.gov if you're interested in being a part of the flower bed committee. And then this weekend kicks off the Springfield Farmers Market. So that is going to be, I believe it's 9 to 12:30 right there around the Heritage Center. But not only that, but on Friday night, your brand new Springfield City Plaza is hosting the Come Together event. So a Beatles event. And this band will be on top of City Hall. We're going to have food trucks. It's going to be a great community event. I invite families, everyone down here, and you'll get to see the great artwork that we've put in down here. There's a little bit of fun history on how that artwork was selected, and hopefully you'll be able to come down and check it out. So I think that's all I got. I mean, I'm exhausted with the things we do around here.
No, Tracy, I know you do camps in the summer for kids from your own personal business.
Sip and Dippity. I have a kids camp next week. The art museum.
Next Thursday, my husband and I do a free golf clinic for kids at Catholic Central Field, Thursday night, 6 to 7.
My nephew's going.
You've done this, right?
Yep, no experience required.
And it's free,
Completely
right?
self-funded.
I need it for adults, though. I'm just.
There's
The
also
clubs are junior size.
There's also Freedom School that will be at the Dome this summer, which is a free program that you can send your children through as well. It's through Covenant, and it's a great experience every year. For many, many years, I've gone and read a book. So if you have free time on your hands as well and want to do something yourself to provide back to the youth of Springfield, Ohio, then you could swing by Freedom School and read a book if you can pass the background check to get in the door.
I feel like there's so many events. We need like an event
Calendar?
page, right? So everybody has a resource to go to, whether it's kids or anything. And again, that United Way, there was like 30 organizations. You can go right to their page and look at those as well. That's about as close as I found of a comprehensive list already put together. Thank you.
Anyone else? Brian, I'm wondering if at our next commission meeting, you can put together a list of the project primarily focused on youth
that are free.
That the city has put money in. It doesn't have to be exclusively youth, but for instance, the improvement at Davy Moore Park is the kind of thing I'm thinking. If you could bring that list to us that include project, the cost, and the source of funding, be it federal, state, or local, or all three, or two of them. Is that a reasonable request? And we'll share it with the community.
Yes.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Let's get going.
Okay.
Shall we?
Absent anything else from the commission, I will call a 5-minute recess.
Oh, do we
And
need
when
that?
we reach, I do.
Oh, okay, got it.
When we return, we will deal with our first reading.
Ooh, I do.
Want to call the meeting back to order. We shortly will be considering the first reading of ordinances. These are legislations, various pieces of legislation that are being presented for the first time tonight and will require a second presentation at our next meeting. We do not vote on first reading ordinances. We simply listen and ask questions, and the public is invited to ask questions also. But we do not vote on first reading. The reason we do first reading is so everyone is given an opportunity to essentially have a 2 weeks notice before the commission votes on something. So, having said all of that, clerk, would you please proceed with first reading by title only?
Excuse me,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor. Before we do that, can I please make a motion that we move forward with the emergency ordinances first this evening? Before, just to change that in the agenda, if we could do the emergency ordinances first. Anybody?
Is there a second to that motion to
Second.
change the order?
Second.
There is a second discussion.
The discussion is, yes, I'm having a little rough time medically over here, so, yeah. If we
Okay.
could do the emergency ordinances first.
Very
I
good.
don't want to say medically like I'm having.
So a motion has
episode.
been made and seconded to alter the agenda to include emergency, to take care of the emergency ordinances first. That does take 4 votes because these are read only one time. And if 4 members of the commission approve, these ordinances go into effect immediately. So having said that, we're voting not on any ordinance, but on the motion to change the agenda to consider emergency ordinances first. That motion has been made and seconded. So clerk, would you call the roll on the motion to modify the agenda?
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes,
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
that motion passes. So if the clerk would please start with emergency ordinance item number 006-25, please.
Confirming purchases and the obtaining of services for the city and providing for payments therefore and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from the commission? Any comments or questions from the audience? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Providing for the issuance and sale of notes in the maximum aggregate principal sum of $1,254,700 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to pay the cost of constructing sidewalks, curbs, and gutters comprised in the 2025 Sidewalk Curb and Gutter Program at various locations throughout the city and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any questions or comments from the commission? Katie, I'm wondering if you might give us a little more detail on this.
Certainly, Commissioner. So we will be issuing an internal note from our sewer fund for $1,254,700 at a rate of 4.25%. And this is to front the cost of the owner's portion of the 2025 Sidewalk Curb and Gutter Program. This project this year had a cap of $7,000 for residential property owners. Once the 2025 Sidewalk Curb and Gutter project is complete, homeowners will be sent an invoice explaining that they are able to pay the city directly. If we do not receive payment from the homeowner or only a partial payment, the balance is then assessed by the county auditor to their property taxes over 10 years. This was a change that we made several years ago as we saw price increases to spread out that cost to property owners. Then we will issue a bond for 10 years to coincide with the assessment revenue that we receive from the property tax assessment. And then the next item is related to this. This is awarding the contract for the sidewalk curb and gutter program is the next item. And the reason that these are emergencies is because this directly relates to the 2026 Neighborhood Streets Paving Program. So we want to get ahead of the weather and award the contract as early as possible in the year because we expect this sidewalk curb and gutter work to likely extend into 2026 and want to remain on schedule with the paving program next year.
And the sidewalk curb and gutter work is done prior to the paving.
Correct.
Thank you. Any questions now from members of the commission or comment? Any from the audience relative to this item? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with CW Tree and Outdoor Service LLC for the 2025 Sidewalk Curb and Gutter Program for an amount not to exceed $1,445,002 and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any question from members of the commission or comment? I'm somewhat concerned by the name of this company. Would you give us a little more information, Brian, in terms of CW Tree and Outdoor Service?
Yes, Commission. So we received several bids for our sidewalk curb and gutter program. Katie just mentioned the financing piece of that. The lowest and best bid was CW Tree and Outdoor Service LLC. It is a company that we have not utilized before. They're based out of the Miami County area. We did have our staff reach out to several communities to see their experience, and they're very, very happy. Gave good references, so we're excited. Another big piece is the engineer's estimate, which was based off of last year's concrete sidewalk curb and gutter prices, was $3.4 million, and their bid came in at $1.445 million. So substantially less than what the engineer's estimates, which is showing hopefully that concrete prices are going down, people are sharpening their pencils, and that's a good thing for our community.
It takes those dollars that we set aside for repaving and allows us to stretch them a little further. Great. Any other questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into an amendment to the contract with the Ohio Bell Telephone Company doing business as AT&T Ohio for a one-year extension in connection with certain telephone services for municipal purposes for an amount not to exceed $24,000 and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Brian, you want to tell us a little about this one, or Katie?
I'll actually ask our IT director to please do that.
Certainly, Commissioner. So this is for the remaining analog lines on the AT&T Centric system. Those are generally for fire alarms, burglar alarms, emergency lines, elevator lines, operator in trouble lines, and some fax lines at various city facilities. This item has actually significantly decreased as we've eliminated those landlines and continue to do so. In first readings, we'll talk to the Windstream contract and how we've transitioned over to VoIP for many of those landlines. This is our 10th one-year extension of a 3-year contract. AT&T is looking to be out of the analog line or copper wire business, so we'll continue to explore the options available to us over the coming year. For reference, in 2018, this contract was over $80,000. And then the reason that this is an emergency is to avoid out-of-contract tariff pricing by AT&T.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with RB Jurgens Contractors Incorporated for the CLA State Route 72 6.83 project PID number 113792 for an amount not to exceed $5,680,164.23 and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Brian, do you or Chris want to tell us what's going on here, please?
Yes, I'll ask our service director, Chris Moore, to speak to this project.
So this is a project on South Limestone. It will start down at Leffel Lane and go all the way up to Singer, or one block north of John Street. It will, it's really a lot of pedestrian safety enhancements. It will push the sidewalk back 3.5 to 5 feet at a green space. It will provide for 5-foot wide sidewalk. There will be some pedestrian refuse islands and mid-block crosswalk as you get up around Johnson and in that area. There will be new traffic signals at Leffel Lane. There will be new traffic signal at John Street. And there will be a median in the first block between Leffel and Lansdowne to prevent the left turn conflict. This project is slated to start, if all goes well, late August, early September. It won't start going really strong until next year. They'll work on some of the traffic signals, and then it will really go strong in 2026. We hope to have it wrapped up by the end of 2026.
Thank you, Chris. Comments or questions from the commission?
I am very excited about this. I grew up at 419 Johnson Avenue in the south end of Springfield, not to be confused with the south side. So I am always excited to hear about new things that are happening and adding more safety pieces there. And I mean, that's literally right where I lived at, born and raised.
Other comments or questions from the commission? Having walked on Limestone Street, on more than one occasion, I thought my elbow was going to be brushed by a car mirror. So I really appreciate this happening. It's undoubtedly will serve our community very well in terms of providing additional safety for those pedestrians and cars on Limestone. So thank you very much.
I do think it's important to note this is a $5.6 million contract, but only $1 million of that is coming from our permanent improvement fund. The other funding is either our utility funds to deal with the water, but primarily it's outside funding sources where we've leveraged those dollars to make this happen in our community.
You make a very important point, because when we work on our streets, it's not only the surface that becomes a cost item, it's what's under the street that sometimes we have to deal with. Can you elaborate a little on that, Chris?
We want to make sure that when we do a street, we don't have sewer and water line issues that are going to come up afterwards and we'll have to dig the street up. Does it happen? Absolutely. We can't plan for everything. You may have noticed already there's been some disruption down there. The gas company has been in upgrading their facilities and getting stuff out of the way. So in this part of the project, we'll be doing some of that with our water lines.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes. So at this point, I think that's all. We have a new item.
We have one emergency resolution. Can we do that one real quick?
Yeah. Item number 152-25
153.
and 153-25. Those appear to be part of the emergency agenda.
152-25 is a first reading.
Oh, it's a first reading. All right. So we'll put that with the first readings. But we need to take action on the appointment, right?
Yes. Appointing John Wesley Babian to the Springfield Historical Landmarks Commission and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Babian. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you. That is a committee that I'm on, so I welcome you. Thank you for serving.
Thank you, Wes. Anything else from the commission? Any comments from the audience? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes. Now we move back to first readings. Now, some of these you heard earlier at our hearings that were conducted prior to the official commission meeting. Again, we will take no action on these tonight, but they are available for questions or comments from the commission or from the audience. So if the clerk would please read first readings by title only.
Amending the zoning map of Springfield, Ohio by rezoning 15.43 acres at 0 St. Paris Pike, Springfield, Ohio from RS5 Low Density Single Family Residence District to RM12 Low Density Multifamily Residence District. Amending the zoning map of Springfield, Ohio by rezoning 1.06 acres at 791 Woodbine Avenue, Springfield, Ohio from M2 Heavy Manufacturing District to RS8 Medium Density Single Family Residence District. Accepting the application for annexation of certain territory containing 2.461 acres more or less in Springfield Township and commonly known as the 0 Maplewood Avenue annexation area to the city of Springfield, Ohio. Authorizing an additional expenditure of $30,610 for the 3-year contract with Windstream for telephone services at various city facilities for a total amount not to exceed $163,092.52 for the 3-year term. Authorizing the city to retain membership in the Ohio Benefits Cooperative Incorporated Regional Council of Governments to participate in its OBC Medical Purchasing Cooperative, and authorizing the city manager, law director, director of finance, and human resources director to do all things necessary for compliance with the OBC bylaws and the Jefferson Health Plan Agreement, all to provide medical and prescription drug coverage benefits for the city's employees for the period of July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026, authorizing expenditures necessary to fulfill the city's obligations under the said bylaws and JHP agreement, and finding a real and present emergency pursuant to Section 145.02 of the city's codified ordinances.
I think
first
we
reading.
add 152-25.
Oh, yep, sorry. Amending ordinance number 91-90 passed March 12, 1991, and commonly known as the codified ordinances of the city of Springfield, Ohio, by repealing and replacing Chapter 196 entitled Municipal Income Tax on Earned Income in its entirety.
So moved.
And we don't take
Oh,
action
gosh,
on
2
these
times.
tonight. It's okay. Brian, Katie, any comments on any of the items before us on first reading?
Commission, as you mentioned, the first 3 items were related to the public hearings that we heard. I'll mention briefly on the Ohio Benefits Cooperative. This is our healthcare and dental insurance for employees, so for our employer-provided healthcare. As you know, that is one of the largest costs that organizations face and have experienced substantial increases many different years. I am glad that this year we're only seeing a 5.39% increase to our healthcare premiums, which is pretty good. Last year we were in double digits, so to get it back down into single digits is a positive. And then also a 0% increase seen in our dental coverage.
Excellent.
And then I'll ask Katie if she can speak to briefly to the VoIP contract as well as the amendment to the ordinances as it relates to our transition to RETA.
Certainly, commissioners, for the VoIP contract with Windstream, that is where back in 2018, the city made the decision to transition many of those analog landlines over to a voice over IP or over internet connection for those landlines. And so that significantly reduced costs with not relying on that wiring from AT&T. Moving on to item 152-25. This is a housekeeping measure to align our income tax ordinance with updates that have occurred since 1991, and to model RETA's recommended language, which is, again, the Regional Income Tax Agency. There is nothing of significance to note, and there's no impact to the taxpayer with these updates. And just a reminder, RETA will go live on July 1st. Residents and businesses will begin to see additional communications from the city and from RETA over the coming weeks. Included in that is a letter that residents and businesses should be watching for that will have some important information in that regarding the transition over and how they can access their account online. And then just in short, highlighting that partnering with RETA allows us to reduce cost, boost collections, modernize our customer service, all of which are vital as income tax is our lifeblood, accounting for 82% of our general fund revenue, which is the fund that supports those basic core services: public safety, community development, economic development, all of those core services that we carry out outside of water and sewer.
Thank you very much. Members of the commission, any questions or comments on first reading? Any questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, clerk, would you please proceed with second reading?
Authorizing an expenditure for the second renewal year of the billing services agreement with Acumed Billing Incorporated for medical billing services and accounts receivable activities for an amount not to exceed $225,000 for the period of July 6, 2025 through July 5, 2026.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made and seconded. Brian, you want to explain, or Katie, what are we billing people?
Yeah, so this is our emergency medical billing service. So this, we contract out with a company that sends or deals with the billing for our EMS coverage that we provide. So you will, they bill the healthcare if you have insurance and so forth. If you remember, currently we do not hard bill the residents for the services, but this is for any time that our medics would transport you or provide a service in transporting you to a medical facility.
But we don't bill our own residents.
We do not hard bill, so it would go through insurance first, and the insurance would pay.
Okay.
So in our community, Medicaid, Medicare are a large portion that make up the payer mix as it relates to this. But then once that has been settled, we do not seek additional payment right now from residents.
Katie, does that go into the fire fund?
It does. Those revenues go directly into the Fire Service Enhancement Fund.
Okay, thank you. Other questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett? Yes. Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into Amendment 1 to the contract with Invoice Cloud for electronic utility bill payment and presentment services to extend the period of performance to September 6, 2025 for an amount not to exceed $25,000 and confirming and approving related expenditures incurred from March 6, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Katie, can you give us a little information on that, please?
Certainly, Commissioner. So this is for the electronic presentation of our monthly utility bills for water, sewer, and stormwater. You'll notice that this is just for a 6-month period, because when we transition to a new platform in the fall, away from that black and green screen that doesn't have any of these electronic capabilities.
We're getting away from the black and green screen?
Yes, and providing much more customer-friendly options and portals for our residents to access. So we certainly expect some cost savings here for our ratepayers. And then residents will also have the ability to receive their bills electronically in the portal, so that we're not paying an additional cost in mailing those out. So they can opt into that with the new software that goes live in the fall.
So if I'm a customer of the city of Springfield for my water and sewer service, will I have a choice of getting my bill electronically, or can I still get it on paper?
Yes, you could still receive it paper via the mail.
But the choice is mine.
Correct.
Very good. Other questions or comments? Any questions or comments from the audience? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a development incentive agreement, single-family residential development with Easton 32718 LLC to provide for water services to real property outside the city limits.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Brian, can you give us a little additional information, please?
Yes, DIAs are entered into when property owners seek to connect to one or both of our utilities. In this case, this is a water connection. They are not contiguous to the city boundary, so they do not have the ability to annex. So we enter into a DIA agreement for them to be able to connect and utilize our facilities. This specific one is on Ogden Road, which is out northeast.
Questions or comments from the commission? Questions or comments from the audience? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes. I see no other business to come before the commission tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn the meeting. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Get well.